You're listening to the Conversations with KidsPeace podcast. Advice, information, and inspiration from experts at the leading provider of mental and behavioral health services for children, adults, and those who love them. Now, here's your host.
Hello and welcome to our podcast series, Conversations with KidsPeace. I'm Bob Martin. The start of this new year comes as we conclude our third season of the podcast. And so given both those milestones, we thought it would be good to get an update on what's happening with KidsPeace now and what we can expect to see going forward in 2021. And to do that, we're extremely pleased to have with us once again KidsPeace's president and CEO, Mike Slack. Mike, great to have you back on the podcast, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Bob. Really good to be with you.
This has been a remarkably challenging year for our entire society. Certainly, KidsPeace is not immune, pun intended, from the consequences of the pandemic of COVID-19. And I'm wondering if you could take a moment, just looking back, what do you feel were the most significant challenges the organization faced, and what's your assessment on how we've responded?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm very proud of our response. I think KidsPeace has responded well. I think like every organization, there was so much unknown about this pandemic. None of us had ever gone through this. So all of that obviously was very challenging to deal with. But in our case, in our particular case with KidsPeace, I think what made it even more profoundly challenging is that, we're dealing with children, adults with significant mental health issues. And now we were forced into a situation where we also had to deal with their medical issues and the medical issues of potentially our associates. And so really, I think understanding what those implications were, adapting to them, putting the safety protocols that we had to put in place, which were very important and actually I think worked very effectively, but trying to develop them in a way that worked in the settings where we're providing services was probably the most challenging thing that I certainly have dealt with in my career, and one that I am just really grateful that we had on board at KidsPeace the medical expertise to help guide us in that. From our entire medical team to our nurses and all of the professionals that we have in our organizational leadership team, trying to really ask the right questions, get the right answers, and then get those things implemented in a way that worked with children that are dealing with mental health issues. It was challenging, but I'm proud of the job that we did.
It does seem that one thing that has come out of the pandemic has been a greater recognition in the society of the need to pay attention to mental health needs, obviously amid such a crisis and beyond. What do you think will be the long-term impact of this greater awareness?
Yeah, so I think this pandemic has certainly, a silver lining of the pandemic is the fact that mental health needs, the impact on one's social, emotional situation have certainly been front and center. And that's a great thing for KidsPeace, something that we've been trying to get our communities, our society to understand and recognize for many, many years. So, the downside is that the need for our services is increased and will likely significantly increase over the coming years, months, because people have been hurt through this pandemic. So what that means for KidsPeace is we need to stay focused on what we have been focused on, but accelerate our ability to create access to services. That's been very challenged in the pandemic because of quarantine and social distancing, all of these things, all of these safety measures that have been put in place have limited the resources that we have to serve this growing need. And so I'm looking forward to getting to the other side of this so that we get our workforce fully back and productive and able to start to service this need, because access to services is going to be critical. We did adapt to that. We continued to operate all of our services during this pandemic, make them available. We did that in unique ways through telehealth, through certain walk-in services that we provided, by going to people's homes, maybe instead of them actually coming to a clinic setting. So we've had to adapt, and I think many of those things we will be able to continue to do long after this pandemic subsides. And so I'm excited about continuing those efforts.
You mentioned the performance of the workforce at KidsPeace. You've expressed many times in many different venues your appreciation and pride of the job they've done amid the challenges, the pandemic and other challenges of 2020. I was wondering if you could share just a couple examples that stick out in your mind of this ethic of going above and beyond for our clients.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the KidsPeace associates during this last year since the pandemic came. I mean, we have asked a lot of our workforce, and quite frankly, when others, closed up, stopped admitting kids, or helping people because of fear, we continue to keep all of our services available, as I mentioned, maybe in different ways in some cases, but simply coming to work and doing their job in the midst of a pandemic with fear and uncertainty, I just can't say enough about the work that we did by our associates. And I think that, we in leadership at KidsPeace worked hard to make sure they had a safe place to come to. And we worked hard to communicate, fact-based information so that they understood what we were doing and why, and how we were going to keep our various programs and locations safe. But we truly were essential workers. And the fact that became front and center during this time is something that I'm very, very proud of.
Looking ahead to 2021, one big development the organization will have to address is the question of vaccination against COVID-19. Now, as we're recording this, vaccines are being rolled out to healthcare workers. I'm wondering if you just give us an update as to what the situation is in terms of KidsPeace associates. And also talk a little bit about what you would say to associates who might have some reluctance about getting vaccinated.
Yeah, so I mean, we worked hard to make sure. I mentioned essential employees, and obviously KidsPeace and our associates are essential employees, essential services, and that's been validated through this pandemic. And because of our work in communicating the importance of our work and the services that we provide, we have been able to elevate when our associates will be able to get the vaccine. And of course, we're operating across 8 states, and every state is implementing their own system for how they will distribute vaccine. But we're already starting to see in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, and Maine, we're already have vaccine available to our associates, so that we're already getting people vaccinated, extremely important. And we're working hard in the other states that haven't gotten there quite yet to make sure that we're at the top of the list and have that vaccine available. I am encouraging all of our associates to get the vaccine. I think it's, I want to get back, I want to get to the other side of this. And clearly the science shows that we need to get 70, 80% of people vaccinated in order to get to that point. And KidsPeace has a part to play in that. And as an employer, I want our associates to step up once again to not only help themselves and help their families, but to help their colleagues, to keep our clients safe, and to help their communities. And so I am urging them to take a leadership role, given that we're in the first, close to the first round of having this vaccine available, to step up and get it and to do our part.
Take a step back a little bit. What are you looking forward to the most in the new year in terms of KidsPeace and its services?
Well, I think, like everybody, I'm looking forward to not wearing a mask. No, I mean, I truly, that will be a nice thing, because I think those relationships and being able to get out and be with the people that we help and with the people that provide the services that help others is an important part of what I do, and something I enjoy, and it's been tremendously limited, even though I've had this opportunity with podcasts and video sessions to try to stay connected. I do miss truly being connected and being out there. So I look forward to that. But I think as it relates to the organization, I look forward to growth and to growing the availability of our services to meet the needs that are out there. The need for our services is profound, and it is growing. And every indication is that post-pandemic, that need is not going to subside. It's likely to increase. People have been hurt through this, and that hurt translates into need. And I want KidsPeace to be there to meet that need. And so we've got to get our people vaccinated, get our quarantine subsided and illness subsided, so that our workforce is intact to meet that need. And I think we will do that. I'm also excited because we have some new services coming on board, different ways to meet the need, not only the traditional ways. So we have new services in Pennsylvania, in New York, in North Carolina. We have a new service coming online. So I'm excited about doing new things. And I think we're going to hit the ground running. And even though COVID-19 is going to be impacting us certainly in the early part of 2021, we'll get through that, and we'll be positioned to grow in the latter half of the year.
Mike, as you know, we end all of our podcasts by asking our guests for a life hack, but I'd like to change it up this time, because what I'd like to do in lieu of the life hack is ask you to share with us something that has come out of the past year that you find particularly profound, inspiring, positive as you look to the future.
Well, I think, as I look back on 2020, what is reinforced to me really in every aspect, both professionally and personally, is that relationships matter. They really do. And they've been all the difference this year, I think, in helping all of us get through what has been an unprecedentedly challenged year. The relationships that we have with our supporters, our donors, our payers, our regulators, each and every, I can give examples of each and every one of those stakeholders that are a part of the KidsPeace family stepping up to help us. And, some of those relationships can get strained in our work, from time to time. But I think at the end of the day, collectively, we all recognize that we need each other. And so I think we leaned on those relationships, and we strengthened those relationships this past year. That's going to pay dividends for many years to come. And I'm committed to making sure that people understand that we're appreciative of those. I mean, the relationships between our colleagues and keeping each other safe, between our clients and keeping them safe, all of those were so important. And, so I think that sticks with me. I think also that what we do matters. Sometimes you can question that. I'll be the first to admit that there have been times where I question does what I do personally matter? Does what the organization, we all have those moments of doubt, but there is no doubt in my mind after what we've been through that what KidsPeace does matters. And what I'm particularly happy about is that we were able to get others to recognize that through this. heroes work here at KidsPeace, and we were able to get an op-ed published on that, and each of our locations celebrated that. And again, I'm so appreciative to the work that our associates have done to help those in need, because heroes do work here, and what we do matters, and that's true in the past, true in 2020, and will be more true than ever this year and beyond. So I'm just thankful for that.
Mike Slack is president and CEO of KidsPeace. Mike, thanks for taking time for us again. Again, to you and your family, Happy New Year. We'll look forward to those positive things you talked about.
Great. Thank you, Bob, and I look forward to it as well.
As I mentioned, we're concluding our third season of the Conversations podcast, and we are looking forward to beginning our fourth season in February. We would love to hear from you as to what you'd like us to focus on. Do you have any ideas, any suggestions, even complaints? All are welcome, so please let us know. I'm Bob Martin. As always, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to having you join us again for more Conversations with KidsPeace. Take care.